cameras. No lights, but that's it. Y'all good back there? Scott, say when.
I'm good.
All right. Coach, whenever you're ready, go ahead with an opening statement.
Okay, well, thank you guys all for coming out. Super excited about the upcoming season. A little over 2 weeks, and we'll be tipping it off here at Reed Green in the MAC Challenge. And so really pleased overall with our roster, the way that our players have approached each day. They work extremely hard. They're a competitive group, and just really excited about what we have ahead. A challenging non-conference schedule. I think North Carolina State is one of those teams on the schedule, just came out top 10 in the country. We'll have an opportunity to go to Mississippi State and play. UAB is always a great opponent, and a lot of a couple Southland Conference champion top teams coming to Reed Green as well. So really excited about that, and just ready to tip it off and get started for sure.
Well, Missy, I'll start. Really, there's a lot of familiarity on this roster. A lot of players you've coached with at Jones. How easily has the chemistry been clicking with those players, and how exciting is it to have those members back and you get to create new ones?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big benefit in having just different players and coaches that are familiar with your system, with you as a coach, the way you approach things. And so we're very fortunate to have that as our building blocks right now. We've been able to bring in a lot of talent around those. I almost call them returners because they transferred with us. But having players that continue that will come back and having that core to build around is crucial in today's climate. I think that everybody hops in the portal, right? And so we look at those transfers as kids that are almost coming back, and it gives us that foundation, and it gives us a core that can help set the tone for us for sure. And so that's been really important. Also having staff members that have been with us in the past, but really pleased with the new staff members we've brought in as well, their energy they bring, their experience level. And again, I love our roster. I think we've got tremendous depth. My biggest issue right now is trying to figure out different lineups and who's playing well together. But I'm really confident in all 13 players for sure.
Missy, could you speak to what the strength of this lineup is in terms of, is it a guard strong lineup, and how does it match up in the Sun Belt? It's more of a guard driven conference.
Right.
You have
right.
the bigs to match out with that.
Yeah, I think some of the things after last season, just being able to coach in this league is a huge advantage. I think just having an idea of what it takes to win the league. Size was definitely something that we wanted to address. I felt like we needed to have the option, whether we wanted to go with a small lineup, whether we wanted to go big. And I think that's one thing that's neat about this team. You can really go either way. It's a situation where, we could go small and play small ball and be really effective, or we could go with a bigger lineup if needed. Rebounding is as important as scoring the ball. So, I wanted to recruit kids that would pursue the ball, whether they're 5'8" or 6'5", that would go get rebounds and be aggressive. But overall, I feel really good. I think we can be flexible based on, what we need to do to win ball games. I think we have that for sure.
Coach, is there a sense for you that's almost like almost surreal that in just a couple weeks you're finally going to be the head coach here?
Yeah, I think your journey individually, I think one thing that's really cool for me is, and I don't want to spin it, but just getting to coach this bunch of kids. I feel like I have a unique opportunity to coach a really special group of players and young people. It's kind of rare that you have a team where you don't have bad attitudes. You don't really have to coach attitude and effort. I'm just getting to coach basketball. I don't know that I've gotten to do that a whole lot in my career, right? So I'm really, really trying to maximize right now just this team, and I think I'm more focused on that than maybe even being the head coach at Southern Miss. But to answer your question, obviously to be the head coach at, in my mind, the greatest university with the greatest fans and the greatest town in America is pretty cool. I can't say it's not. So very thankful for that, and just a chance to be home and get to lead this program is definitely really special. That's right here.
So I would like to touch on what he said.
Yeah.
Being at Jones and then going to
Yeah.
ULM and now you're here. What would be the difference between recruiting for JUCO, because it's only 2 years, versus
Yeah.
recruiting a kid for 4 years?
Yeah, I know. It's just, I think everything changes year to year, because I think when I first got an opportunity to be a head coach at Division I, there was maybe one model we wanted to use, and then I think being here at Southern Miss, there's a little different model or format we can use. obviously, if there's a great player in the state of Mississippi that I believe can help us win ball games, then we want to secure those kids and keep them here at home. You know, I think we've got a big time commitment we're super excited about in this 26 class. It could go anywhere. You know, she's got P4 offers, but she's going to stay home, and that's big for us. So just being able to secure that, you know, a lot of the kids on our roster right now had gone off to P4 programs or gone away from home, and they're now back and they're playing their last couple years here at Southern Miss. And so I think if we have an opportunity to do that, we want to do that first. And then just throwing out a net, you know, in the southeast part of the country of like the top kids, you know, our staff's been working super hard, just JUCO events, club events. We've been all over the country this summer and this fall recruiting. And so, you know, I still think there's that need to go out and get that great player in Florida. You know, we have a Morgan Sieper on the roster right now that's top kid in Florida, and, you know, having her here and just being able to go out and get those top kids around the southeast. And then the JUCO model, I mean, being in the league for so long, I have great respect for how good junior college basketball is, and so certainly being able to continue to recruit JUCOs hard is definitely a goal. But to answer your question, it's a little different. It's almost a year-to-year plan. You hope that you have that retention, you know, that we were speaking about earlier, and if those kids will stay with you, or in this case transfer with us, you know, it gives us a head start and a jump start. I do believe that. So right now we may be recruiting our own players as hard as anybody else as well too, you know, if that makes sense. But great question.
Coach, I'm Cameron Johnson with the Southern Miss Student Media Center.
Yeah.
And my question is, with your long history of winning, what do you plan on bringing here to continue that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously it's just everything's year to year. You know, each team is different and what each team needs is different. And so, you know, I think winning has been a byproduct of having the right people around me all these years. I think, you know, if you look, I've always had great assistant coaches. I've had great players and great talent. And, you know, we've worked really hard in recruiting to get those right players. It's not just about having the best player either. It's about having great people and people that you trust and people you want to be around each day. And so I look back on my career, and we've been incredibly blessed with, you know, just incredible people around us, and that's been a big part of our success for sure. So I think continuing to do that here, you know, I've got a tremendous staff that I am so excited about and thankful for. And again, I can't tell you enough how much I love this roster. This for me is a opportunity. We got to maximize this roster. We know that we've got great players and great people, and we want to get every single thing we can out of them. But I mean, we haven't really beat around the bush. I don't want to be anywhere where there's not great expectations. I mean, this athletic department, our administration, our president, they expect us to win, and that's what we want to do. So we're hoping to have great success in year one and have a chance to be in the mix there at the end and go to an NCAA tournament. I mean, to do that here at Southern Miss would be an incredibly special, and just, I mean, I can't think of anything else I'd rather do for the program is take that next step and get to an NCAA tournament.
Missy, just talking to Dee, we were talking about how there's no absence on this team. It's just basketball. You mentioned how much you love the roster. What stood out about the way they play? You know, what stood out about just coaching basketball,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What's kind of stood out about their fire out there?
I just think little things, like if you come to practice, they look you in the eye every time you try to coach them. You know, like that's a little thing, but that's a big deal. Like young people don't always do that anymore. You know, they're receptive to being coached. They want to be better. They want to grow and learn. I think the way they interact with each other. I think they're incredibly unselfish. They share the ball. They all could go get a bucket really at any time, but they celebrate each other. And we really, I mean, I don't know if we said share the ball one time. We said it 100 this fall as far as just trying to get them to buy into being a great team. So it's just little things, the way they approach workouts. They step between the lines and ready to compete. They want to win in every drill that we do. And so it's just a little different mindset. I think a lot of that has to do with the amount of maturity we have on the team and experience. A lot of these kids are on their last year or two, and they want it to be, they don't have time. They want it to be right now where they have success. And, you know, in recruiting, we talked with our players about their goals, and the kids that said, you know, I want to be this, this, and this individually, we kind of went away from, and we went with those kids that said, hey, I want to go do something special. I want to come back home and take Southern Miss to an NCAA tournament. I want to come back home and get Reed Green Coliseum rocking. And, you know, those type goals were the kids that we decided to go with. And I think that's been reflected in our practices and on the court. Now we're putting a lot of different kids together from a lot of different programs. So it takes time. I mean, it's day one. Will we, you know, execute everything perfectly? Will we have great chemistry? I don't know. We're still learning and growing, but I think it's going to be a process, but it's certainly a journey I'm excited about, and a team that, I can't wait to coach for sure.
Missy, can you speak a little bit, from a fan's perspective, what can they expect to see in terms of your philosophy offensively, defensively?
Yeah.
I mean, you like to press it, you like to zone. I mean,
Yeah. I think this team would be pretty multiple, really. I mean, I think we can do so many different things. We can go big. We'll go a lot of zone traps, zone presses. We're putting in a really great zone right now. We feel confident in the half court. We're playing around with a lot of run and jump in the full court. When we go with our small lineup, play a little small ball. We shoot the three a lot. Can play fast. We're working on our run and jump a lot. So I think our goal is going to be the most aggressive team. I think we're going to take some chances defensively, and just try to be aggressive with what we do. I think that, we've got to be a team that limits teams to one shot, so it can get us out. If we get stops, it's going to give us the ability to get out and run and play fast. We've worked the whole summer and preseason on, our primary break, our transition, our reads and transition, our second level reads and our secondary break, and just trying to attack the defense when they're on their heels before they're set. And so, I like our ability to shoot the ball. I think we've got perimeter players at all times that can make shots, and I think recruiting moving forward, we're just going to recruit guards that can make shots, shoot the three well. But, I think it'll be a fun style. There's that old saying, you live and die by the three, and we're certainly going to let the three fly, but I think we've got to live and die by the way we defend, and I think if we'll defend and we'll be committed to defending and getting stops, and I think those transition opportunities, those easy buckets will come. But, I think with the depth we have, the idea is to play more people, be able to play fast and rotate kids in and out. And so that's the thought process right now. Obviously, as you get in a season and things happen and things change, injuries and whatnot, you may have to adjust that some, but I think going into the year, that's the plan.
You talked about it a little bit, just your experience in the league, coaching in the league. How important is that advantage to you guys?
I think, people don't understand how good this league really is. Like, it really is a great league, and there's so little margin of victory. I think that's the one thing I learned, over the last 2 years. You can be better, and you can step on that court and be better than another team, but you better play better, and you better show up and compete every night, because the littlest thing can cost you ball games in this league. There's just a lot of parity, and it's a grind of the way the travel is to the Thursday, Saturday swings, and, it's just a grind every night. And so that's one thing I've learned is, I think too, the way you prepare for teams the second time around, there's some, the way our schedule worked last year, we'd play maybe Troy, South Alabama, and then we turn around the next week and play Troy, South Alabama. And so that just being able to make adjustments to give yourself a chance to win in that second time around, and being able to make those adjustments is really important. But they're great coaches in this league, great players. So you just got to be ready to play every night. I think that's one thing that really stood out over the last 2 years.
You've got two players with size, Whitney and Carrier.
We've got Tamaya, Thurman,
Okay.
and then we call her Slim, but
Gotcha.
she's from Harrison Central, so
Yeah.
transferred from Mississippi State. So T is about 6'5", Slim is about 6'2", 6'3", and then Whitney Hart about 6'3". So yes, those three kids. Yes.
How's the development kind of been there?
Well, they're young. 2 of the 3 are young. I mean, Whitney tore ACL last year, and so this would be technically her freshman year. She's a redshirt freshman. She needs experience. She's worked really hard to get back. Body looks great. She's in great shape. I think the biggest thing with her is just finding that confidence coming off the injury right now. T played 2 years at Auburn. Didn't really get the minutes probably she would have liked. I think she can be a big piece for us. I think she will be someone you see get better and better as the year goes on. And then you look at Slim, the same situation. Like, those 3 just need experience and they need to play. They're all Slim and T are transferring, from a P4 program. But they're all young kids, really, when you look at it, as far as, just getting that experience and confidence, I think, is going to be big for them. But it definitely gives us an opportunity to go big at times and be able to match. There were some teams in the league last year that had 6'4", 6'3" kids that were really good. And, we struggled at Monroe last year of being able to match that, physicality and rebounding. And we just need to have that option on our roster if we want to go big, or like I say, I think this team can play small, put 4 really explosive guards out there, and that can really shoot the ball. So I think there's just a couple different lineups we could go with, but they're coming along and doing great, working very hard. Yes, sir.
Like, with Southern Miss mantra is like, some of our sports aren't really like all that, and like nobody's really worried about us in conference. Basketball, women's basketball has been one of those things. Do you feel like that will continue? Like maybe will there be a target on our back? Because like everybody's saying we got a new coach, new transfer, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I think, again, the league, from year to year, it goes different, but certainly this program is tremendously respected, just with the history. And, I think you've had so many great players come through the program. And so just trying right now to, like I say, focus on this team. But, yeah, I would be interested. The preseason poll will come out here in the next week. And I'm interested to see where people will put us on paper. I think, we've got a really nice roster. And so, I certainly think, right now probably based on last year's, records and things, probably JMU and Troy would probably be the teams that will come out as the top 2 teams in the conference. Maybe Arkansas State. They've got a few kids back from that team that won the conference. But I certainly expect us to be in that mix. I really do. So, yeah, that's a great question. But I hope we're always in a situation where that target's on our back, because that means great things are expected, So, yes, sir.
So for you, what does it mean to have these players and your staff from Monroe follow you here? Like, what does that mean for you as a coach? What does that do?
Yeah, well, I hope, I try to look at it objectively, and I hope it means we're doing things the right way. I know a lot of these players could go to maybe make money and be in situations where they're in a financially, with the world we live in with the NIL, make more money and things like that. But I think it shows the value of still having relationships in athletics. And I think they know what they're going to get. They know what to expect with our staff every day. They know they're going to be treated with love, and, they know they're going to be pushed. And so I think, there's still some value in that, which is really encouraging in today's climate. 9 times out of 10, people are going to, hop in the portal and go for the money, and so it means a lot, that they would come here and be committed to taking this journey with us and trying to take this program to that next step. And so our staff's the same way. I've got really talented coaches that have had other opportunities, and their family, they've been with me a long time, and their family to me. So, Coach Pitt's been with me 10 years now total, and Coach Lauren Gross, this is going on year 3 with her. And so, and then Coach Kaya Weathersby and Nunu Bradford are GAs, and they've all played for me. And so, that makes it a lot of fun, So, yeah, it certainly means a lot, and I hope that means we're doing it the right way, that they'll stick around and stay,
Building on that with Coach Jonathan Williams too, his experience at Jackson State and at Charlotte. I've seen you guys around.
Yeah.
What has he kind of brought to his team and to this program too?
Well, first of all, Coach Jay has tremendous energy every day. Like he shows up just, on a 10 every day, and so that's been really important. Just having that strong voice and just trying to get the best out of our kids every day. He's very connected in recruiting, so I think that's been a big addition for us, just across the country, just him being at different spots. And, obviously he's got experience as well going to an NCAA tournament. He went to a couple at Jackson State, and then also, taking it over at Charlotte. There's a lot of regional connections that he's been able to tie us into. So I think that was a great hire for us, on the court, recruiting, and just overall, he's a great person. He's from South Mississippi. He loves Southern Miss. And so I think that was a big time hire for us for sure.
Missy, out of curiosity,
Yeah.
what does NIL look like at the G5 women's basketball level?
Yeah.
Is that, and where are y'all at that point?
Yeah, well, I have to say, our administration's been really supportive. I think that was one thing that was attractive to me coming back home, is hopefully it was going to be a situation where, it is hard to fundraise and raise money at any level. And I think, being at the mid-major level, I thought maybe it would give me a little better opportunity to raise money, to be able to create a better roster. Our administration's tried to help give me everything that we need to build a team in a reasonable, amount, certainly. But, I think we're probably right there at middle to top of the pack in the league. I mean, I don't really know. It's tricky because we don't really know what everybody else has. None of us are advertising it. But I feel like we do a good job of, taking care of our kids so where they don't have to maybe work right now, because that's been a big deal. Is I don't know if people understand, student athletes might get scholarship money, but at the same time they have bills to pay, they have things to do, and what we require of them is a lot. And so trying to make sure we're competitive within our league for sure, and hopefully that will continue to grow. We're certainly working very hard at it within our program, but also our athletic department has worked extremely hard, and I think they're very committed to doing the best that we can where we're at for sure.
The end goal each season, of course, is NCAA tournament,
Yeah.
making a good run in the Sun Belt tournament. But when you get to the end of the season, it's hard to come from another school and rebuild. And I guess my question is, what if you get to the end of the season, like what is a successful season in
Yeah.
your eyes?
That's a great question, because you always want to have, and we've got a team retreat tomorrow. I'm very excited about, just having a chance to spend some time with our team and just really kind of allow them to say what they want to do, and what they want to happen. 9 times out of 10, when you listen to your players, there's about 3 things they want. One, they want to be pushed, and they want to be the very best that they can be, right? But also they want to have a great experience. They want to have chemistry with their teammates, and they want to be able to look back and say that they had a great time playing basketball. And then I think the other thing, is that they want to form, meaningful relationships. And you think some of that shifts with the climate we're in, but when I talk to our players, they want to win, they want to have a great experience, and they want to make, memories and lifetime relationships. That's still what college athletics is about, and so, I don't know. I would say for us, just if we can look back and say that we gave our very best every day, that we stuck together, that we handled adversity, that we responded anytime things went wrong, and that we did those things, then you're going to look at it and feel pretty good about what you did. Obviously we want to hold up a trophy and go to NCAA tournament. There are some things that have to happen. You got to stay healthy. There's different things that have to happen to have those special runs. But I think the goal right now is how can we put ourselves in a position to be there at the end? How can we get better every day? How can we teach our team how to handle adversity and stick together? Because we haven't hit the hard stuff yet. It's still all fun right now. We're working hard, and the anticipation and the excitement, but we haven't really hit those hard moments. So, making sure we equip them and prepare them for how are we going to stick together when those tough moments happen.
One more for Coach. Give out.
So for me, after getting a whole offseason with the team, how are you feeling going into the season? Because it's really quickly approaching. How are you feeling going into it?
Yeah, just a lot of excitement and anticipation, honestly. So, obviously, I wish we had about 4 more weeks instead of 2, so I had a little more time to get ready, because it's sneaking up on us quick. But, I think sometimes the only way to learn is and to grow is to play. We had a scrimmage last week that I thought was really good for us, gave us a pretty good idea of what we needed to come back and work on this week. We have another scrimmage next week that we're looking forward to. So I think it's just a situation right now. There's just a lot of anticipation and just seeing, what this team can be and how we can continue to grow together for sure. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr.